Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to Dr. Amrit, our lecturer for subject English Proficiency 4 and fellow participants here. We are from Group 8 in the course UBI3242, Group G, and today we are going to talk about bully, is it a norm? First, let me introduce myself and all panels here. I am Nurul Izzah binti Azmi, a student of Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, Sultan Idris Education University. Our first panel here is Mr. Muhammad Shahriz Aiman, a teacher from SK Tanjung Malim. The second panel here, Mrs. Noor Arina Safia, an officer from Proton. And the third panel here, Mr. Muhammad Aiman Saiful, a student from Polytechnic Behrang. If everyone is wondering, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to explore more about what is bully and what are the things that very related to bully. In general, we know that bullying is an ongoing and deliberate misuse of power in relationships through repeated verbal, physical, or social behavior that intends to cause physical, social, or psychological harm. It can involve an individual or a group misusing their power or perceived power over one or more persons who feel unable to stop it from happening. Bullying can happen in person or online via various digital platforms and devices, and it can be very obvious, and we call it as overt, and also can happen through hidden, and we call it covert. Bullying behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time, for example through sharing of digital records. Bullying of any form or for any reason can have immediate, medium and long-term effects on those involved, including bystanders. Single incidents and conflicts or fights between equals, whether in person or online, are not defined as bullying. What bullying is not, the first one is the single episodes of social rejection or dislikes. The second one is single episode of acts of nastiness or spite. The third one is random acts of aggression or intimidation, and the last one is mutual arguments, disagreements, or fights. These actions can cause great distress. However, they do not fit the definition of bullying, and they are not the examples of bullying unless someone is deliberately and repeatedly doing them. Now, we move to our first panel here, Mr. Shahriz. Hello, Mr. Shahriz. For you, as a parent, what do you think about bully cases? What are the causes and this so-called criminal to happen among kids nowadays?
Thank you, Ms. Izzah, our moderator. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. As we know, there are many types of bullying, such as physical, verbal, social, relation, psychological, sexual, and cyberbullying. Many risk factors could affect school bullying, especially individual, peer, and parent factor. Research found that adults who have school bullying are more vulnerable to develop future psychiatric disorder. I will talk about the three factors that cause of bullying in school. The first factor is about the physical violence in the media. Short-term and long-term effects of violent media use or aggressive behavior have been demonstrated by numerous studies across age, culture, gender, even personality types. Overall, the research literature suggests that media violence effects are not large, but they accumulate over time to produce significant change in behavior that significantly influence both individual and society. This is a difficult area to generalize about, as some students can watch a lot of violence in the media and not be affected, while other students can display higher level of aggression from watching a lot of violence in the media. The next factor is dysfunctional families. Children who bully are 3 times more likely to have family or parental problems. Dysfunctional families are fertile group for abuse. Secrecy, addiction, or denial. People often ask if there are things about family life that increase the risk of becoming a bully. The answer is yes. It's good to know and recognize home-related risk factor for children becoming bullies who intentionally harm others directly or through peer or technology. Lack of warm relationship between parent and children, but instead parental disinterest, coldness, excessive teasing, treating kids like enemy, or acting like they don't like or want it. It will affect them emotional and doing their own, including violence, bullying, or taking drugs. The last factor is peer group. When it comes to aggressive behavior, children are more likely to engage in bullying when the peer group endorses positive attitude toward bullying. The influence of peer was a significant predictor of participation in harassment. Negative peer influence was linked to bullying and being victimized. In addition, research showed that having a delinquent record like vandalism, membership in a gang, and bringing a weapon to school can correlate with higher level of bullying and victimization. Peer witnessed 85% of bullying incidents and their presence and action can increase or decrease bullying. For example, if a member of peer group participate in bullying, the other will experience it. In addition, students who were perpetrators were more likely to come from socially significant peer groups. So that's all for me. Thank you. Back to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shahriz, for sharing your opinion regarding this. I think it is quite related to the cases that keeps on happening in nowadays. They tend to do that due to the physical violence in media, dysfunctional families, and also peer group norms. So next, we move to our second panel here, Mrs. Arin. As we know, the factors stated by Mr. Shahriz just now will really make sense. So, in your point of view, what are the ways in dealing with this case? Maybe you can share with us the view as a parent.
To teach them recitation and prayer in congregation for Muslims. And those two things are the most basic things in educating children. Okay. The second ways to deal with bullying as a parent is to spend more time with their children. This seems very simple and trivial. However, it has a profound effect on children. This is because children need very much attention as they grow up, especially attention from their parents. The attention given by parents to children can provide adequate value of love to children and at the same time um, cultivate the value of love in them. While spending time together, parents can also take advantage to take advantage of time to ask about the problems faced by the children if they have trouble. Okay, parents can also give advice and encouragement to children in solving problem. um, as parents, we must more sensitive to the problem faced by by their children, so as not to experience emotional disturbance and so on. And lastly, the way to deal with bullying as parent is be an example to the children by not using violence as a solution. Based on my observation, the attitudes of children form are starting from the attitudes of parents that they emulate throughout growing up. All the good and bad behaviors shown by parents will be noticed by children and be an example to them as they grow up. So, parents should not show that problem can be solved by using violence, but parents should show that problems can be resolved with love. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Arin. I was not expecting the great ways as what you have suggested just now. That were really, really great points that just came out from a parent's view. Hopefully, those parents that are watching this forum will gain more ideas in handling their kids. Now, let us hear what ideas from Mr. Aiman about the impact of bullying for a student's future. I guarantee that Mr. Aiman have experience regarding bully issues, no matter as the one who get bullied or even as the bully itself. Let us hear the sharing.
Thank you, moderator, for the question. It is undeniable that victims of bullying will indeed receive various major impacts that can destroy their future. We go to the first impact, which is social and emotional impact. Kids who are regularly targeted by bullies often suffer both emotionally and socially. Not only do they find it hard to make friends, but they also struggle to maintain healthy friendships. Part of this struggle is directly related to low self-esteem. A lack of self-esteem is a direct result of the mean and hurtful things that other kids say about them. When kids are continually called fat or losers, they begin to believe these things are true. Bullying victims also tend to experience a wide range of emotions. They may feel angry, bitter, vulnerable, helpless, frustrated, lonely, and isolated from their peers. Consequently, they may skip classes and resort to drugs and alcohol to numb their pain. And if bullying is ongoing, they may develop depressions and even contemplate suicide. We go to the second point, which is physical impact. Aside from the bumps and bruises that occur during physical bullying, there are additional physical costs. For instance, bullied kids often experience anxiety. This stress on their bodies also will result in a variety of health issues, including being sick more often and suffering from ulcers and other conditions caused by persistent anxiety. Bullied kids also may complain of stomachaches and headaches, and the bullying they experience may aggravate other pre-existing conditions like eczema, skin conditions, stomach issues, and heart conditions that are aggravated by stress, all worsen when a child is being bullied. And the last impact that I can highlight is academic impact. Kids who are bullied often suffer academically too. Bullied kids struggle to focus on their schoolwork. In fact, sleeping grade is one of the first signs that a child is being bullied. Kids also may be preoccupied by bullying that they forget about assignments or have difficulty paying attention in class. Additionally, bullied kids may skip school or classes in order to avoid being bullied. This practice also can result in falling grades, and when grades begin to drop, this adds to the stress levels the bullied child is already experiencing. Additionally, teachers may be less effective because they must spend so much time focused on classroom management and discipline instead of teaching. The good news is with proper support and intervention, most kids targeted by bullies will overcome bullying and things will get back to normal. But left unchecked, bullying can cause the victim to pay a high cost in long-term consequences. That's all from me. Thank you.
Wow, it was a very great knowledge and history sharing from youngsters' view. I am really impressed with you as you are still a student now. We are at the end of the sharing. From what we have discussed today, it is very obvious that bullying should not be normalized by kids nowadays and not even a thing that can be proud of. Teachers, parents, and even the public play a very huge role in order to give a very good example to kids to ensure that the upcoming generations to have a very good attitude. Thank you for lending your ears and eyes and spending your time in this webinar. Hope to see you guys in the future. Stay safe.